Yo, what's up guys, you got II here today, and this time I'm bringing you the NPL Miners Week 2 match versus Carnie Hobo. Now, Carnie brought an interesting squad. He brought the Hitmonlee, of course, which, as you guys know, is a huge set to my team. He brought the Volbeat, which I was surprised. I did not think he'd bring the Volbeat, but you know, props to him for being innovative and bringing that Unmon. And then he brought the Mega Aerodactyl, which is always a threat. Necrozma, always a threat. Ferrothorn, always a threat. And Toxapex, always a threat. So, I don't know. Volbeat kind of threw me off a bit at team preview. Immediately I thought, like, okay, he brought this to stop Manaphy from setting up and winning the game with the Encore. So I'm like, okay, I have to be wary of that. Potential leads on his part could be Hitmonlee, could be Mega Aerodactyl, could be Necrozma, could be Ferrothorn, and could be Toxapex. It could be one of those 5 modes. I actually thought he might want to lead Hitmonlee if he was Scarfed and maybe like get a kill. So what I led with the trio on the off chance he did decide to lead that. He did not. He led Ferrothorn actually, and my play always on Ferrothorn is to go Rotopi and either A, get off a Volt Switch, or B, defog his hazards away. And that is exactly what I do. I go for the defog as he goes into Toxapex, which is fine with me. Not sure if he wants to set up T-Spikes at this point, but the play for me is always to Volt Switch. Hang on, let me just zoom out a bit so I can pause it when I want to. So I go into Manaphy. If he burned me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. If he went for Toxic Spikes, I could always defog those away later. But Manaphy in on Toxapex just basically ensured that I got free setup. So he goes for Scald. Does not get the burn, thankfully. And actually, I double out. So I think at this point that he's like, okay, Manaphy's going to set up, I need to go Volbeat and I need to Encore, and that's what I'm thinking he's thinking. So I'm like, okay, let's make a prediction. So I go into Spirit in the Sky here, Mega Aerodactyl, expecting the Volbeat to come out, as he actually goes for the Haze, which that surprised me, because even if he's Haze on Toxapex, if I'm Psychic Manaphy, then I would be able to beat that down anyway. So I'm like, okay, so he wants to stay in. So I pretty much know Toxapex is Shed Shell. You wouldn't bring it versus a Trio unless you were Shed Shell or like a Shucker Berry variant. So I doubled right back out into Manaphy. I'm like, okay, so he probably wants to stay in. Or if he switches out, that's fine too. So he goes into Ferrothorn, and I'm like, okay, I can take a Power Whip. Citrus Berry will get me back to like probably 50% maybe, because Power Whip does about 70 to 80% to Manaphy, as long as he's not like adamant attack investment or invested or something along those natures, like an offensive. I mean, Bandit would knock me out, but yeah, so I don't think he's that set. I think he's more of a defensive set. So I actually go for the Tail Glow here as he goes into Toxapex, and I'm like, okay, let's start wrecking havoc. So I go for Psychic as Toxapex actually lives. I guess Def Drop, but that doesn't end up mattering. He goes for the Haze, and I'm like, okay, let's just go for Tail Glow again. So he goes into Gardevoir, and I'm like, alright, so let's see if he's max speed. And he Mega Evolves, and he actually is max speed, so I'm like, okay, that's a bit unfortunate, but maybe I can kill. I don't kill, but you know, at this point I'm like, you know what, let's risk it. Manaphy won't have any opportunities to set up again versus things like Necrozma or Volbeat or Scarf Hitmonlee if he is that, or Ferrothorn. Only thing he could really set up on was the Toxapex, and I doubt he'd let me do that again. So I just decided to kill this off. If Gardevoir did outspeed me that turn, I could have always gone into the trio to revenge kill it. So that was the plan behind that. Yeah, he goes into Hitmonlee, and I pretty much have to stay in to find out if he's Scarfed. He is Scarfed, and he kills Manaphy, but that's fine with me because now I can go into the trio. And if you remember from my team builder, I said that the plan, if he was Scarfed Hitmonlee, was to always to go into the trio and either A, kill Hitmonlee off, or B, get damage off to sack the trio. So I go for the Earthquake, almost kill. It was a roll, but I got a low one, but that's fine. So he goes for High Jump Kick, kills me, but that's fine, you know, that was part of the plan. I have Ice Shard on Donphan, and I know he's not going to want to stay in, so I actually go for the Rocks here as he goes into Volbeat. So I'm like, alright, what does he want to do? He can defog, he can thunder wave, he can toxic, he can encore, he can do a bunch of things with prankster. He goes for defog, and I'm like, okay, let's see what else he wants to do. So he goes for rain dance actually. I actually didn't expect rain dance. I thought he'd want to switch into something like Necrozma at this point, but he does not. He goes for rain dance, probably to help out Ferrothorn a bit more, as I just full switch and go right back out into Donphan. So I believe I want to get up rocks this turn. He goes for the lunge, which I thought was pretty interesting actually. I was like, okay, so not bad, not bad. So lowers my attack, bit unfortunate, but you know, that's the game we play. So he goes for defog, lowering my evasion, but I'm already slow to begin with. I go for stealth rocks again, just to get back leftovers recovery. I know he wants to defog this away so Hitmonlee can come in again. I go to Rotom here as on the defog. I believe I think I volt switch this play. Yeah, I volt switch and he still wants to stay, and I have the toxic on Rotom, but I keep thinking he's gonna switch. I go into Donphan again as he goes for the lunge. That doesn't hardly does anything to me, as I believe I get up rocks this turn. Yep, I get up rocks as he goes into Toxapex, and now I have some attack investment. I don't have much. Toxapex has a chance to live this earthquake if he wants to stay in, and I just go for the earthquake, get damage off, maybe get a high roll, maybe not. He goes into Ferrothorn, which is a good play on his part, as I just go for the earthquake. That does nothing to Ferrothorn. That's fine. My play is always to go into Rotom Heat on this thing, and that is exactly what I do, as he goes for his rocks of his own. And at this point, I believe I just go for the overheat. There's no reason for me not to. If he goes Toxapex, I can volt switch on that afterwards. He goes Necrozma, does 49. So at this point, I can he seems to be like a max HP variant, I think. And once he goes for the Photon Geyser, I'm pretty sure that he is max special attack. So that's actually unfortunate for me. He does a lot. Only leftovers I have with Rotom is leftovers. So that I go into Cobalion here just to see if he's physical, because physical and so if he was physical Necrozma with Photon Geyser, he did about the same as he did max special attack Necrozma with Photon Geyser, so I couldn't tell at that point. So I go into Cobalion to either taunt this thing or get up damage with the Iron Head, as he just wants to attack. I thought he'd Moonlight to play iToxic, so wasn't sure what he wanted to go for that point. If he was like a Calm Mind variant, I could have been in trouble, but that was the play behind that. I could have gone Aerodactyl that play too, but looking at his team, Cobalion kind of seemed the most useless mon at the moment. It can't really hit Ferrothorn, can't really beat down Volbeat either, or Toxapex. So yeah, I went into Cobalion just to see if he was physical or special. It turns out he was special, as I believe I go for the Iron Head. Yep, I go for the Iron Head just in case he wanted to stay in. And he goes Toxapex, and now I go for Taunt. I don't want him recovering, but he actually goes for the Scald, and he does not get a burn. But I go for Roll Switch here just to get damage off, and now I can go into my Rotom Heat. As I said in my team builder, I can take Scalds from this thing, and I do, although that does a lot. I did more than I want to, because now I cannot come in on rocks again. So he's actually going to sack off Necrozma here, which is more than fine with me. I go for Volt Switch just to get out of there, get momentum. Maybe I can spin with Donphan later. And I go into Donphan now, hoping... So basically I went to Donphan for one of two reasons. One, if he wanted to go into Volbeat to defog, that'd be great for me. If he wanted to go into Toxapex, well, I can kill that thing off with an earthquake. And if you want to go Hitmonlee, obviously that had rocks. Basically, I needed my goal was to spin this away. I think he misplayed this turn. I think he should have gone Ferrothorn, but he actually goes Volbeat. I think Ferrothorn would have forced me to make plays at this point, but he goes for the lunge, so I just go for the rapid spin. No reason not to, really. And now I'm basically going to use Volbeat against him. I'm going to go into Rotom Heat to get my leftovers back, because I know I can, as he reveals his last move as Encore, which I'm thankful for. Glad it's not like toxic or anything like that, but he goes for the Rain Dance there, and I actually reveal Toxic now. At this point, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to defog these hazards away, and basically the point of me staying in with Rotom is to get more leftovers recovery back. So I go for overheat just to get damage on this thing and just to get leftovers back. At this point I think he's just going to, I actually thought he said Volbeat there, but no, he goes hard Ferrothorn, which is fine. I just Volt Switch out on that thing, and I believe I go into Cobalion. So I don't want this thing setting up rocks. So I go for the taunt as he goes into Toxapex. Now Toxapex can pretty much has to scald me actually, and I go for Iron Head. Not necessarily to flinch, which I do get, but to just get damage off for Donphan's Earthquake and for Rotom's Volt Switch. So I go for Iron Head again. Get the flinch. It kind of mattered and kind of didn't. I still had a way of winning with Rotom Heat and Arrow and Donphan in the back, even if I didn't kill with Donphan. So I go to Donphan. It's in my favor to kill Toxapex, so I go for that. If he was like a mixed defense variant, so I kill Toxapex off with Donphan, which is actually fantastic for me. As he goes Hitmonlee, does not know I have the Ice Shard. I reveal it. Crit did not matter, and I kill Hitmonlee off. So things are looking fantastic for me as he goes Ferrothorn here. No reason for me to stay in. I go into Rotom Heat as he goes for Power Whip, misses unfortunately, and it was later revealed to me after the match that Carnie was actually an adamant Ferrothorn set, and that if he had crit me with the Power Whip, Rotom Heat could have died, and that would have made the game a lot more difficult. I had Fire Fang on Arrow, and basically I found out that he didn't have Leech Seed, so in the end I would have won anyway because Fire Fang knocked it down enough where Donphan's Earthquake could kill. But that's besides the point. At this point, the game's pretty much mine. I go for Overheat and kill Ferrothorn off, as his last Mon is the Volbeat, and I go for Volt Switch and kill that thing off. So definitely a good game to Carnie. Had some luck in my favor. I didn't get burned by any scalds, and you know, things just played out in the end how I wanted them to. Again, I didn't kill Dugtrio, or I didn't kill Hitmonlee with Dugtrio even though I had a chance. So there were some 50-50 decisions on that part, but other than that, you know, Carnie put up a great game. Not much to be said, I guess. Really surprised at the Volbeat ring. Not sure if like Blastofelon or Alolan Muck could have done something more. I did give Carnie a defogger though, so maybe that's why he brought that versus me. Also helped versus Manaphy. But yeah, with that being said, GG to Carnie Hobo. Make sure to check him out, guys. Very entertaining guy. And stay tuned for more NPL stuff later. Peace.